You clicked because you heard the NBA and the Mafia were connected. You weren't wrong. March 23, 2023, New Orleans Arena. Terry Rozier walked off the court after just 10 minutes, clutching his foot. Foot discomfort, the Charlotte Hornets announced. Fans shrugged. Players get hurt. But that wasn't the real story. FBI Director Kash Patel stepped to a podium Thursday morning with news that would rock the sports world. This is a historic arrest across a wide-sweeping criminal enterprise that envelops both the NBA and La Cosa Nostra. While Patel spoke, federal agents were kicking down hotel room doors. Terry Rozier, arrested in Orlando. Hall of Fame coach Chauncey Billups, cuffed in Portland. The foot injury? Federal prosecutors say it was all theater. Rozier had tipped off his childhood friend about leaving early so they could bet hundreds of thousands on his underperformance. Terry Rozier's scheme was almost elegant in its simplicity. The 10-year NBA veteran would text his childhood friend De Niro Laster before games, letting him know when he'd be sitting out or leaving early. Laster and his crew would then place massive prop bets on Rozier's underperformance. That March game in New Orleans, Rozier left after 9 minutes. His co-conspirators had already placed $200,000 in bets on the under. When those bets paid out, generating tens of thousands in profit, the cash was delivered directly to Rozier's home. But Rozier was small time compared to what else was happening. Chauncey Billups, the 2004 NBA Finals MVP and Basketball Hall of Famer, was serving as what prosecutors called the face card in an entirely different operation. 4 major Mafia families, the Bonanno, Gambino, Genovese, and Lucchese crime families, were running rigged poker games across Miami, New York, Las Vegas, and the Hamptons. The setup was diabolical. Victims were lured by the chance to play cards with NBA royalty like Billups. What they didn't know was that they had 0 chance of winning. 0. The technology was straight out of Ocean's 11. Rigged shuffling machines that could read every card in the deck. Special contact lenses and sunglasses designed to see markings on the backs of playing cards. X-ray tables that revealed face-down cards like Superman's vision. The machine would predict which player had the best hand, relay that information to someone outside the room, who would then text someone at the table. That person would signal other cheating players with subtle gestures, tapping specific chips or adjusting their position. One victim lost $1.8 million to these rigged games. Nearly $2 million gone. Meanwhile, former NBA player Damon Jones was running his own side hustle. As an unofficial assistant coach with the Lakers in February 2023, Jones had access to inside information about player availability. Before a Lakers-Bucks game, he texted a co-conspirator, "Get a big bet on Milwaukee tonight before the information is out." He was talking about LeBron James sitting out with a sore ankle, information that wasn't yet public. Jones used his relationship with the king himself from their Cleveland Cavaliers days to gather private medical information and sell it to gamblers. Betraying LeBron for gambling money. That's a new low. When people couldn't pay their poker debts, the crime families did what they've always done. They used threats, intimidation, and violence to collect. This was organized crime adapting to the modern sports betting era, combining old-school mob enforcement with cutting-edge technology and insider access to professional athletics. The Sopranos meets Silicon Valley, with NBA stars as the middlemen. Here's what makes this scandal different from every other gambling controversy in sports history. This wasn't some rogue operation happening despite the league's best efforts. This was the inevitable result of a system the NBA helped create. And they should have seen it coming. Rewind to 2014. NBA Commissioner Adam Silver penned an op-ed for the New York Times that would change everything. Betting on professional sports is currently illegal in most of the United States outside of Nevada, he wrote. I believe we need a different approach. Silver was the first major sports commissioner to openly advocate for legalized gambling. While other leagues cowered from any association with betting, Silver embraced it. He saw dollar signs where others saw danger. 4 years later, the Supreme Court struck down the Professional and Amateur Sports Protection Act. The floodgates opened. 37 states, plus Washington, D.C. and Puerto Rico, now allow some form of sports betting. The NBA didn't just accept this new reality. They sprinted toward it with open arms and open wallets. In 2021, the league announced that DraftKings and FanDuel had become its co-official sports betting partners. The deals were worth billions. Suddenly, gambling companies weren't just advertisers. They were partners. But that's not all. The league's broadcast deals, worth $76 billion over 11 years, are structured around the assumption that gambling will drive viewership. Every timeout became a betting opportunity. Every injury report became market-moving information. The real game changer was prop betting. Traditional sports gambling focused on who won or lost, point spreads, over-unders on, total scores. But prop bets? They turned every individual statistic into a betting opportunity. Will LeBron score over 25 points? Will a player record a double-double? Will someone leave the game early due to injury? Suddenly, information about player availability became incredibly valuable. A text about a twisted ankle could move betting lines within minutes. A coach's decision to rest players could generate millions in betting action. This is where the Jontay Porter case should have been a wake-up call. In 2024, the Toronto Raptors forward was caught manipulating his own performance for prop bet payoffs. He was banned for life from the NBA. But instead of treating Porter was like a canary in the coal mine. The league treated him as an isolated incident, a rogue player who made bad choices. But the federal investigation revealed something much more disturbing. Porter wasn't acting alone. According to prosecutors, other defendants threatened Porter, who had pre-existing gambling debts, to get inside information. The network was bigger than anyone realized. Meanwhile, the leagues continued cashing their gambling checks while issuing stern warnings about integrity. The NBA's official stance was that players, coaches, and staff couldn't bet on basketball. But their gambling partners were advertising these same bets during every broadcast. Think about the contradiction. The league was simultaneously saying, "Don't bet on our games," to its employees, while saying, "Please bet on our games," to everyone else. They were profiting from the very activity they claimed threatened their sports integrity. Adam Silver recently appeared on The Pat McAfee Show and admitted he'd asked the NBA's gambling partners to pull back some of the prop bets. Too little, too late. The monster was already loose. The NBA's response was swift and predictable. Terry Rozier and Chauncey Billups were immediately placed on leave from their teams. The league issued a statement about taking these allegations with the utmost seriousness and maintaining that the integrity of our game remains our top priority. But this crisis is fundamentally different from the last time the FBI rocked the basketball world. In 2007, when referee Tim Donaghy was caught betting on games, Commissioner David Stern looked like a broken man at the press conference. He called it the most serious situation and the worst situation that I have ever experienced, either as a fan of the NBA, a lawyer for the NBA, or a commissioner of the NBA. Stern looked genuinely devastated, like someone had just told him Santa wasn't real. This time, there's no containing it. This isn't one rogue referee. This is a systemic issue involving players, coaches, organized crime families, and the very structure of modern sports betting that the league helped create. The investigation is ongoing. Federal prosecutors made clear that more arrests could follow. The FBI's Joint Organized Crime Task Force spent over a year building these cases across 11 states. What makes this worse than Donaghy is the organized crime. When the Mafia gets involved in sports, it's not just about individual corruption. It's about systematic control and manipulation. 18 years after David Stern called Tim Donaghy a rogue, isolated criminal, nothing about gambling in sports is isolated anymore. It's everywhere. It's anywhere. And it's only getting worse. The Mafia didn't infiltrate basketball. Basketball invited gambling in, and organized crime simply followed the money. As long as sports leagues cash gambling checks while issuing integrity warnings, these scandals will continue. The house always wins. In this case, the house includes the NBA, the betting companies, and apparently 4 major crime families. Hit subscribe so you don't miss.